Good afternoon, Wargamers. Mechrat here, back at it again with another tier list. I'm absolutely grinding right now, putting out a lot of content, working on a lot of videos. I had some extra time tonight to record a video, so I decided I'd do a quick little Ogre tier list. Figured this wouldn't take as long as Skaven because there's less troops. And I also know Ogres pretty well. They're my second army, so hey, we'll give it a shot. Sure, it'll be fun. Not expecting this video to be quite as popular because less people play ogres and less people like ogres, but I like ogres and that's what matters. So we're gonna do a little ogre troop tier list. I modified the tiers again. We got build around me as always, great inclusion, good if points go down, good due to season rules, memes, and then the bottom tier is the Thunder Tusk tier, aka this war scroll needs a rewrite tier. So probably gonna have a couple of things going in that tier. No spoilers. Anyway, let's hop to it. First up is I can never remember what this idiot is called, the Blood Pelt Hunter. And he's gonna be good due to season rules because he can be taken by a Tyrant as a sub commander to get +2 move field sergeant. He does basically not much else, and even then it's like counterintuitive because if you're gonna get that +2 move for your foot troops, you want him to be near the foot troops, and this guy's best role is to be far away from it, like taking advantage of his move in the opponent's turn. So it's like barely good due to season rules, but otherwise he's, you know, kind of useful, I guess. Then we got the Butcher. He's build around me tier. Like, obviously, he is probably the best war scroll in the book. Probably, or at least the most important war scroll in the book. He literally enables playing a Gutbusters army. Like, run and charge with +2 to run is so unbelievably necessary and so unbelievably strong for gluttons that the Butcher is an auto include. Every single Gutbuster list simply starts with 1 to 2 good Butchers, and that is just how it is. Frost Sabers are probably a great inclusion because they're a cheap screen that's fast. So if you need a cheap screen that's fast, they do that job well. They're not a very exciting unit, and I don't think they're like super good. They're probably going to be bottom of great inclusion. They could probably get a little bit cheaper, but they do their job well. They'll score you some tactics, they'll screen, they're fine. Firebelly is probably a meme because he's doesn't have a good war scroll like the Butcher or Slaughtermaster. He does get spells, which is nice, you know, so he's a wizard. That's nice, but there's literally no reason to run him over the other two because the other two do something. He doesn't do anything. He just casts a spell. So yeah, he's not good in my opinion. Then we got the Frost Lord on Stonehorn. He's probably good if points go down. He's got an actually decent war scroll. He's just not what you would think of. Basically, he's just a sort of fast glass, like sort of mobile glass cannon, which is kind of a sorry role for a Frost Lord on Stonehorn, but unfortunately that's just the reality of the way that Stonehorns are written right now. Basically, the only thing that they have going for them right now is unreliable damage. I mean, he hits about as hard as 4 Iron Guts, I think, and he costs 100 points more, but his Rampage is good at least, and he does guaranteed 4 to 6, you know, 3 to 5, unless you're in the Beast Claw subfaction, then it's 4 to 6 mortal wounds on a charge, so that's good. You add that and he probably is about maybe a little better than 4 Iron Guts, or 4 Iron Guts. He's not like very exciting, but he's fine. Frost Lord on Thunder Tusk rewrite. The Thunder Tusk is just a terrible monster. The shooting attack is terrible. The melee is horribly unreliable. The Thunder Tusk, Frost Lord on Thunder Tusk, his 2 war scroll abilities. He has a once per battle +1 to impacts, which you really don't need anymore now that you have just monsters getting automatic +2. So that's kind of useless. And then his Rampage is a 5-up Horde Breaker, but it triggers in the movement phase instead of the charge or combat phase, which makes it almost never going to happen because anything that he charges that a 5-up Hordebreaker is going to be good into will have killed him. So yeah, rewrite tier, Thunder Tusk tier. Then we got Gluttons, build around me. Basically every ogre, like competitive ogre list in my opinion, is going to be Slaughtermaster, Butcher, Gluttons, and then some other stuff. Gluttons are super good. They're wound dense, they do crazy damage, they're fast, they control really well. They don't have a great save. They're not like, they can be durable because they're wound dense and you can give them a ward. So, but they're kind of your best do-it-all unit. Then we got Noblars. Previously, I think they would have been down in Great Inclusion or maybe good if points go down, but because of the change where Butchers and Slaughtermasters can include them in their regiments now, I think Noblars are built around me. They're like 110 points for 20 models, which is insane to me. Like, as a person whose primary army is Skaven, I wish Clan Rats were 110 points. I would kill for 110 point Clan Rats. And Noblars are just out here existing. And they even like do something mildly useful. They have like a you charged me, you take damage ability, which means that they get to do a little bit of crappy damage before they die, which is good. You know, I think Noblars super good now. Then we got Gorger Maw Pack, who's probably Great Inclusion. They do slightly more damage than regular Gluttons, I think. They have Rend 2 into infantry, which is nice. They have a deep strike, which is cool. They don't have any bonuses out of charge, and they have to hug the board edge with their deep strike, but it's still a deep strike. Putting guys where they need to go is still powerful. I think they're OC2 like the rest of ogres, so yeah, they're fine. They're not particularly durable because they're a 6-up save, but they're 5 wounds each at least. Like, your opponent will need to put something into them. Like, if they put a foot hero into them, the foot hero's gonna die. They'll chew up a screen. You know, your opponent needs to put an actual hammer into them or they won't die. So I think they're good. We're gonna put the Huskguard on Stonehorn back in good if points go down tier as well. There was a Beastclaw list that was good, and it was like 5 Huskguards, and you just have the ward always because you're always casting or you're always chanting that prayer. And then the Huskguard's Rampage is actually kind of good. And the Stonehorn still, you know, again, the Stonehorn is swingy, but it can do damage. So yeah, the Huskguard, after the points nerf, I'm not sure if he's like still good. So that's why we'll put him in good if points go down. Huskguard on Thunder Tusk. Thunder Tusk tier. Moving on. Icebrow Hunter. I'll do good due to season rules because you can take him with a Frostlord as a sub commander. Now, obviously, he's not super useful as a field sergeant in a BCR army. So the only way that this is working is if you're playing a Frostlord and Gutbusters, which I think is probably a mistake because you'd just rather have more like the same. I'm pretty sure that a Frostlord on Stonehorn costs about the same as 6 Gluttons and 20 Noblars. And that's like 40 something wounds that can deal damage reliably versus 15 wounds that doesn't deal damage reliably. And like, that's just not even a trade. So I don't think you run a Frostlord in regular Gutbusters, if I'm being honest. Unless you want to, then you can, I suppose. It's probably not bad, but it's not like the most competitively viable, and I'm a competitive player, so I care about what's most competitively viable. Anyway, long story short, honestly, I'm gonna move this guy down to meme tier. He has a deep strike for cats, which is like whatever, which is keeping him out of rewrite because at least he does something. Iron Blaster, good if points go down. It's got a good war scroll. It's got a decent shooting attack. It's got a decent close range shooting attack. It's just way too expensive. The points value that this thing is good at doesn't start with a 2. It starts with a 1. I think it's 170 is probably when you start playing it again. Maybe 180. Certainly not 200. Yeah. Up next is Iron Guts. I'm gonna put them in Great Inclusion because I don't think they're required like Gluttons are, but you can play them. I don't think you play, I think because of how expensive they are, you probably at most play 1 unit of Iron Guts. They will golf club swing just about anything off the table. They do tons of damage, and the double fight is nice. And you have a -1 to hit spell, and you can throw a 5-up ward on them, so you can make it so they'll survive a hit of something before they get to double fight again. So you can actually leverage that, but they're not required. I think they're just good. Lead Belchers, I want to put them in rewrite because I want them to be rewritten, but I think in actuality, they're good if points go down, because I think there is a points value where you play these things purely as wounds. Their shooting attack is terrible. Like, you're not taking them for shooting, you're just taking them for wounds, and because they have damage 2 printed on their war scroll. And that's really the only reason you take them, which is a pretty sorry excuse to take the cool looking ogres with broadside cannons. I really want them to be in the rewrite tier, but unfortunately I can't, like, in good conscience put them there. Maneaters just need to be, like, put in legends. I'm gonna put them in good if points go down, because there is a points value where you play them, because they do have a slightly better war scroll than gluttons, in my opinion. So if they get cheap enough, you could definitely run them over gluttons. The only downside is I'm pretty sure you have to take a tyrant to play them, and you don't want to take a tyrant because the tyrant's bad. Speaking of the tyrant, I'll bring him up so I can talk about him next. But yeah, I think there is a points value where you do play maneaters, because they have an okay shooting attack, and they have decent melee, and they have an actually pretty good war scroll ability. They have the Stormcast Ruination Chamber ability, where they can ignore something on ignore an ability on a 4-up, which is a good ability, but it's not like you're not super excited to play maneaters. Tyrant, I'm gonna actually put him in rewrite tier, because previously the only reason you played him is to play Noblars, but now there's literally no reason to take him, because the control bonus doesn't matter because ogres control so high anyway. A 6-up ward for Iron Guts doesn't matter because you have a Slaughtermaster to give them a 5-up ward, which is better. And he's not, like, particularly good at fighting, and we all know, I've said it a million times, fighting foot heroes are not good, you know, so I'm gonna put him in rewrite tier. Up next, we got the 2 terrain features. The Maw Pit is the one you take. It's built around me. The Maw Pot is a great inclusion. That's just how it is. The Maw Pit's better because Splash Mortal Wounds is better than a once per game heal and +1 power level. In my opinion, I do like +1 power level. I was running like a triple caster list with a Maw Pot to get 4 casts at +1, which was good. But the problem is you eventually just run out of casts, because you +1 attacks, -1 to hit, and then the other 2 casts, once you have your endless spells out, they're wasted. So in my opinion, you really only need 2 casts a turn with ogres, maybe 3. So I don't think the Maw Pit's worth it, or the Maw Pot is worth it. I think you just take the Maw Pit. Because you can, between Maw Pit, Noblars, Impact Mortal Wounds, the BCR Prayer, and Shackles, you can get like a lot of chip mortal wounds throughout multiple phases as ogres. So yeah, Maw Pit definitely good. Mornfang, good if points go down. They have a good war scroll. They're just really expensive. They're like, I don't remember if they're 180 or 200 still, because I haven't played them, because I never play them, because they're always too expensive. But whether they're 180 or 200, either of those is too expensive. I'm pretty sure that these guys don't see play until they're like 150. But at 150, I think they do get play, because they're just, you know, cavalry that do 1,000,000 damage on the charge. They can fight and win against other cavalry because they ignore charge +1 damage. And they're good against shooting because of the -1 to wound thing. So I think they have a good war scroll. Yeah, they just need, you know, they need to go down. The Scrap Launcher, I don't like this thing because it doesn't look cool. The Iron Blaster looks cool. You want to run the Iron Blaster, you don't want to run this thing. But no, I'm gonna put this thing in meme tier because I hate it. I don't care if there's like some tier where it's playable, or there's some points value where it's playable. I don't want to play it, and I'm gonna let my ogre bias take control this time. I'm gonna put it in meme tier because I don't want to play it. Stonehorn Beast Riders will be good if points go down. I'm gonna order this a little bit. something like that. Stonehorn Beast Riders, they have an okay rampage. They do okay damage on the charge. They're not very durable for their points cost, but they are the cheapest good monster. We're not gonna, you know, we're not talking about Thunder Tusk this video really because they're just terrible and they need to be rewritten. But they're the cheapest like actual monster that you would think about playing. They, you know, good impacts, decent damage on the charge. Not particularly durable, decently fast, okay rampage, 2 mediocre shooting attacks that'll miss and then you move on. But it's good if points go down because you can spam them, and spamming a bunch of monster trucks when they all do 4 or 5 or 6 mortal wounds on the charge is good. You know, because you can multi-charge 3 of them into something. It'll take 15 mortal wounds and then you'll have enough damage to kill it. Up next is Slaughtermaster. He's built around me for sure, probably right below the Butcher. I think the Butcher's better because guaranteed run and charge is amazing. The Slaughtermaster, it has a condition. It's a pretty easy condition to fulfill. It just requires you killing something, but it is a condition nonetheless. But it's such a strong buff. 5-up ward with as wound dense as you are is amazing. +1 attack with your quality of attacks being all Rend 1 damage 2 or Rend 2 damage 3 is also amazing. So yeah, this guy, super great, super excellent, slightly worse than the Butcher, but still probably the 2 best force rolls in the book. Another Thunder Tusk for the Thunder Tusk tier. Moving on, we got Yetis. They're a meme, I think. You can maybe get a little tricky with them, where you can like countercharge something and then pile out of combat with them so they can't hit you, but that's like a lot of commitment to command points plus countercharging this thing, plus your opponent had to give you the countercharge that, you know, like, and the reality is these guys are just so fragile and they don't do enough damage. They're just gonna die. They're gonna explode when something charges them. They also like they have to be taken by a BCR hero. And none of the BCR heroes are like amazing. The Gutbuster heroes are the good ones. If you could take Yetis with Gutbuster heroes, maybe I would be more interested in playing Yetis. Also, GW, give them new sculpts. Christ, they're so ugly. Yeah, no, Yetis are a meme, I think. I think the Scrap Launcher probably goes to the top. No, the Fire Belly goes to the top, then Scrap Launcher. This, just ordering this. Yeah, I'm happy with this. I'll do like that. Iron Guts at the top, I think. Head of Cats. And then, yeah, I'm happy with this. So yeah, hey, we got through this one in just under 20 minutes. So I'm happy about that. You know, content for the content gods. Probably we'll put this one up tomorrow or on Sunday. But yeah, short and sweet little Ogre tier list. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you in the next video.